In this video, I'll be showing you how to use the OLED display with Arduino. I'll be showing you how you can put text on the OLED display. I'll be showing you also how to put shapes on the OLED display, and also I'll show you how you can put your own images or logos on the OLED display. So I'll be showing you how to program all of that and how to connect it up. So without further ado, guys, let's get started. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and connect up the OLED display right here. And this is a I2C OLED display. And you'll be able to tell if this is an I2C OLED display because the second last pin would be SAL, and this pin, or the last pin, would be SDA. If those pins matches, then this is an I2C display. So we can go ahead and just put this onto the breadboard. So we're just going to fit that right in there. So now the first pin we're going to connect is the G&D pin on the OLED display. There we go. And then we can go ahead and connect that to G&D on the Arduino. Then the VCC pin, of course, is the positive pin for the OLED display, so it provides positive power to the OLED display, and this is going to be connected to the 5V pin on the Arduino. So now we'll go ahead and connect up the SCL pin, and the SCL pin is one of the pins that will help us communicate with I2C to the OLED display, and we're going to have to connect that to A5 on the Arduino. And why we connect to A5 specifically is because A5 and also A4 are the pins that provide I2C communication with the Arduino. So it's important that you actually connect this way because it won't work with other pins because they don't have I2C on them. So then SDA will be connected to A4 on the Arduino. So we can go ahead and connect that on there. And of course you can use an Arduino Uno for this. This is not like you need an Arduino Nano. I just decided to use an Arduino Nano because it's just easier to connect up. But you can also use an Arduino Uno or any other Arduino. So now this is basically how you connect up the circuits. Now we can go ahead and look at the code. Okay, so now here is the code. This is the first code I'll be showing you, and this code is basically helping us so we can put text on the OLED display. So first, to use the OLED display, we actually need a few libraries. First one right here is Wire. Now this is for the I2C communication. These other two libraries have to be installed. Wire is already pre-installed when you download the Arduino IDE, so you don't have to install that, but these do. So all we have to do is come here to these books right here on the Arduino IDE, or just go to the library manager on your Arduino IDE and click it. And we're going to go ahead and type in SSD1306 right here. So we got to go and find a library for it. The library here that we are going to be using will be this one right here, Adafruit SSD1306 by Adafruit. So we're going to be using this one right here, and actually I'm just going to go ahead and remove it, and I'm going to show you when you press download, it may ask you if you want to download all, and it's important to make sure you download all because it also download this part as well, Adafruit GFX library, and we also are using that as well. So we're going to go ahead and say install all. Now if it doesn't give you this option for some reason, then you could go ahead and just type in this into the library manager, and it should pull up, and it's also from Adafruit as well. And so now after they are installed, this code should then work. So the first thing we do here is we go ahead and we need to define the size of our screen. Now most OLED display screens are 128 to 64. That's the size of the OLED display. And so we just put these numbers into these variables, which is screen width and screen height. And then what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and we're actually going to set up this OLED display. And how we do this is we call the library Adafruit SSD1306, and then we name the display, and we're just going to name it a display. So whenever we want to do something with this specific display, we have to call this name right here, which is display. So it's the most easiest name to remember there. So then we just it asks for some information here. First one is screen width, so we give it this variable right here, which is 128. Then the screen height, which is 64, and then it's going to ask for what is our way of communicating to this OLED display, and that is wire, which is I2C basically. This wire library would deal with all the communication we need to do with this OLED display. And then also this last thing isn't really important. This is just for the reset pin, and honestly this OLED display does not have a reset pin, and so we just set it to -0. Okay, and so then we go ahead and we go into the void setup, and basically this is actually where we do most of our code right here, and we go ahead and do display.begin and go ahead and set up the display, get it started, and we give it all this information right here, this information like the type of LCD it is right here. And so now we go ahead and do display, which we're calling the OLED display, and we're going to say clear display. This cleans everything off of it. So even if there's already stuff on it, when you clear it, that means there's nothing on it anymore. So that's what we do. At first we just clear it because maybe there's old information that we had on there before we upload this code, and so we want to get that off and upload the new thing we want to put on this OLED display. So that's what we're going to do here. We just clear it, and then we go ahead and do display.set text size. So this is the size of the text. I set it to 2, and then we do display.set text color, and we just do white, and then we go ahead and do display.set cursor, and this is where we're going to start writing our text. Okay, so we're going to go to 5, which is X, so we're going to go 5 pixels over, and then we're going to go 30 pixels down. Okay, so the 0 point is actually on the top left corner. That's 0, 0. So we're going 30 pixels down, and this is the center basically because we have 64 pixels in height. And then we just have 5 pixels away from the side. That's where the text will start. And all we do is do lcd.println right here, and we just print hello all, and this will print the text on the display. And then we just go ahead and do display.display. So this will put this right here onto the display, it would upload it onto there, and that's all we need to do really to get this text on the OLED display. And so now this is what it gives me right here, and as you can see it says hello all on the OLED display. And so now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and do something a little bit more interesting here, and we're going to want to scroll the text. And so what we do here is to just go into the void loop this time. So this is when we're actually going to start using the void loop, and we're going to uncomment this code right here. This right here will actually scroll the text over. Now, if you want the text to scroll faster, we could up this number to like 8. This would tell it every single time the Arduino runs this code right here, the text will move 8 pixels over. And so basically we don't want it to go significantly quick, so we're just going to go to 5. And the lower you go down, the more slow and smoother it will actually move. So just like this right here, this is basically the hello all scrolling on the text. And so basically that is how you can write text onto the OLED display. So now we're going to learn how we can set up shapes on the OLED display. Okay, so now here is the code that will show us how we can put different shapes on the OLED display. So I've already explained all of this code right here. And so now we can go ahead and explain these parts right here, which is pretty simple to understand. So the first shape that we will put on the OLED display is the rectangle, which we do right here. We just do display.rect. This will tell the Arduino that we want to display the rectangle. The things it will ask us for is, okay, so where is the upper left corner going to be located? And that is right here. It will be on 10 by 10 pixel. Then this right here is the size of the rectangle. So 20 wide and then 10 high. And that will make our rectangle. And then of course it will be white as well. So then the next shape we can put on the OLED display is the circle, which we do with display.draw circle. And all we have to do here is we got to define where the center of the circle is going to be located, which will be at x45, y15. And now we have to give it its radius. Its radius is just going to be 8. And then we go ahead and display the triangle. Of course, we just do display.draw triangle. And so the first thing is we go ahead and ask where will the top corner be of the triangle. And so that will be x68 and y10. And then we go ahead and give the position to the left corner, bottom corner of the triangle, which is x59, y22. Then we go ahead and give the other corner as well, which is 79 and 22. Of course, you can change these values however you want. So the last thing we do is we go ahead and draw the line. So this line can be straight or not straight, however you want it to be shaped. So what we have here is we just do display.draw line. We go ahead and give it the first position that this line will be at. And this first position will be AX55 Y 10. Then we do the next position, which is X 100, Y 20. And that will draw the line for us. And then after we're done with all of that, we will go ahead and display all of this onto the display. And so basically, this is what we get right here. And you can also take all these shapes, you can put them wherever you want on the display, as long as they are in range of 126 pixels wide and 64 pixels high. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how we can display actual images, or in this case, my logo onto the OLED display. And I also add another interesting feature to the OLED display as well with using the shapes. So let's go ahead and look at that code. Okay, so now here is the code for putting an image on the OLED display. So right here we have, of course, everything that we need right here. So basically, here we have a num. This will be holding the radius of the circle. Of course, we need to be holding this, and it's because it's going to be changing this radius, because as this circle gets bigger and smaller, we would need to change it, of course. So by default, it will be 30. And then this is the direction. So this will be the direction if we are making the circle bigger or small. So by default, we actually set it to making it bigger. Of course, we just set up the OLED display, and then here is the main part of the image here. So this is actually the image of every single pixel that we will put on the image to get this set up. Now, you may be unsure, like, how did I even get this? Did I really make this myself? And the thing is no, I didn't. I actually used a website, and so here is the website right here. This website right here, I will leave a link down below to this website in the description if you want it. So here, we just go ahead and click this right here, and this is the site where we will get this information. So we could go ahead and get the image, whatever we want, off our computer by clicking right here. So this is a perfect screenshot. I took many screenshots, as you can see, of the screen trying to get the perfect size, because this actually is somewhat important, because the image needs to be within 128 to 64 pixels. If it's not in this range, if it's too big, then it won't work. So of course, we're just going to go ahead and click it, open file, and so now the file is uploaded, and here is the image right here. As you can see right now, you really can't see much about the logo. Really, we can brighten it up with this right here. We just start increasing this number, and it starts brightening up the image, as you can see down here. So we're going to brighten it up a little bit more so we can see more about it. We're going to keep on brightening up until the background starts actually showing. There we go. And so now we can go ahead and just export it right here, or generate the code. And this is right here. This is the code how I got this. And we just go ahead and copy this right here. Just copy this part right here, and then we can go ahead and come back to our code right here, and we can paste it in right here. And so now I come down here, and we just go ahead and set up the display. Now, as you can see, the voice setup is actually kind of empty this time, because as you know, we want to change the circle. We want to update it as it consistently gets bigger and small around the logo. And because we are doing these updates, we also have to update the logo as well, and upload it onto the OLED display as well. So we can't have it into the void setup anymore. We're going to have it in the void loop as it consistently updates the OLED display. So that's all we do. We just set it up, the display right here. And then we go into the void loop, and we go ahead and clear the display, make sure all the old data is taken off of it. Okay, so then this is the part right here where we draw the logo onto the screen. So we just do display.draw bitmap. And so now the first thing this will ask is, where's the top left corner of this image, where is it going to be located? And it's going to be located right here at X41 and Y10. And then we go ahead and give it the bitmap right here. As you can see right here, we named it my bitmap. And so this is actually the array that's holding all this information, which we are now given to draw bitmap function. Okay, and so then we're going to give the size of this bitmap right here, which is 45 and 43. Because as you can see, when we come back to this website, if we come up here, you can see we have 45 and 43. This is important to make sure this matches right here with what you're given onto here. And now, of course, the logo will be white. And then we'll go ahead and draw the circle right here. And so what we do is we just do display.draw circle. We go ahead and give the center of the circle, which is this right here, 64 and 32, which is the center of the OLED display, because basically the image is somewhat in the center of the display. And then right here, we will go ahead and do num. This is holding the current radius of the circle. And of course, the circle is going to be white. And then we just display it all onto an OLED display. And so now the rest of this is basically to manage the circle and getting bigger and small. So that's what we do. We just say if num is equal to 31, which is as big as we want the circle to get, then come into this statement and change the direction to negative. So now after the radius gets to 31, it will start decreasing. We do if num equals 25, which is the smallest radius we want the circle to be, then we're going to come to this statement and make a direction equal to +1. So now we start making it bigger now. And that's what we do. We just increment num equals num plus direction. This direction would be either 1 or -1. And then we just delay by 50 milliseconds. This is a small amount of time, but we have to do this so that the circle gets bigger and grows and decreases in a rather, good pace, not too quickly. So I just put this display in there. So basically that is that, and this is what it puts on the OLED display right here. It's my logo with the circle getting bigger and small around it. So basically that is how you use the OLED display with Arduino. If you like this video, consider giving this video a like. Also comment down below if you have any questions, and consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. Thank you everyone, have a great day.